Hey, Acceptance Squad. This is Alex from Alex's Autism Acceptance Channel. I'm having a pretty bad hair day, but we can make it work out. And today I am here with my school counselor, Miss Brown. She was my high school counselor, and we were 4 years together, and we had a wonderful time during those 4 years. And we've stayed in contact regularly through my high school graduation. So thank you so much for being here, Miss Brown. I look forward to you telling your story.
Well, it's great to be here, Alex, and I don't think you're having a bad hair day at all.
Thank you very much.
I'm honored that you asked me to join you today.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I'm honored to have you on, definitely. So the first question is, how long have you been counseling, and when did you discover that counseling was your calling?
I retired 2 years ago with 41 years under my belt. Now, some of those were in teaching. About the first 8 years were in teaching, and then I got my master's at Eastern in counseling and moved over into counseling. And I think what I loved teaching, and I always knew that I wanted to work with teenagers. But I think what really helped me make the decision to move from teaching to counseling was I just was experiencing so many situations in the classroom with students where I felt like they needed a lot more support and emotional care than I was really trained to give them. And so I went back into counseling thinking, well, these skills would be helpful for teaching. But then once I got my degree, I just decided to go right into teaching full time. So that's how it all came about.
Very good. Yeah, I definitely agree with the students needing emotional support. I mean, that's just something that's often neglected with high schoolers, and it needs to be a high priority. Definitely.
Yes, definitely.
Do you remember your first time meeting me? And if you do, describe how that went.
I remember it extremely well, Alex. I was in my office, and your parents and you and your brother, I believe, came into my office. And I remember thinking, wow, this student's really tall. And and then we began, I remember starting a conversation, and I just remember you being extremely cheerful and very just very talkative, very warm, easy to be around. I did notice that you moved around quite a bit, and
Yes.
you would sort of take your hand and trace certain things. And I just thought, well, this is a young kid that just has a lot of energy. But then I thought it was a little bit over the top, but I liked you from the get-go. So that was my first impression.
Very nice. Yes. So I guess what qualities did you notice about like my personality and all that during our first meeting?
Sort of like what I was already stating, I think that you seemed very energetic. You seemed very authentic. You seemed very warm, engaging, and not afraid to have a conversation with an adult, very able to speak with an adult. And you smiled a lot too. I remember that. I'm thinking, well, this is a cheerful chap.
That I was.
But I remember it was a positive, definitely a positive impression you left.
Good, very good. What was the best conversation that you remember us having, and when was this?
Okay, there were a lot of conversations in high school, I think, and there might have been several conversations, and I don't remember exactly when that focused on this, but I remember some of the conversations that we had about how some people were just mean, and that really bothered you. And I just felt like you had a really sensitive spirit, and you really had a real care for people, and that you didn't like to see people get hurt or made fun of or mocked in any kind of way. And I just remember being very impressed with that. It was sort of a maturity beyond your age.
Interesting. Yeah,
Mhm.
because unfortunately I did experience some picking on throughout high school and before high school.
Yes,
Fortunately,
right.
that's stuff for high school graduation. But
Mhm.
yeah, I definitely, and this is very common with individuals with autism. Definitely, the sensitivity
Mhm.
is there, and it's real.
Yes,
So
yes.
I do remember those, and I appreciate us talking through
Mhm.
it.
Yes.
Yeah. Why do you think it's so important to stay in contact with your students after they graduate?
Well, you know, you form a bond with a student. You've got 4 years, and those are very transformative years. I mean, there's a lot of growth that happens between a ninth grader and a 12th grader.
Oh
And
yes.
so the student that you got to know as a ninth grader is leaving your school as an adult, and you've had adult meaningful conversations with them, and you've formed a real bond. And you know, the counselor becomes very interested in the future success of the student. And so I just think that for me, it just seems like the natural thing to happen is to stay in touch. And unfortunately, there aren't many students that I've been able to do that with, but I have really appreciated being able to do that with you. And I'm
Mm,
looking forward to your graduation and being there to watch this new milestone. And
yes.
plus, you have taught me a lot, Alex, and about people who are on the spectrum. And I've always appreciated that. It helps me to be more sensitive and more knowledgeable about people who are on the spectrum.
Yeah. Well, I'm very happy to be that source of education, definitely. And I acknowledge that, and that's definitely why I do this channel and do this advocacy outside of my channel. It's to help exactly that. Um,
Hmm.
so
Great. I think it's wonderful. I'm so proud of you.
thank you. Um, would you say that? So you would say that like your experience with me and my disclosure of it has helped you with future interactions for students with autism?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And to me, it just speaks of your maturity and how authentic you are. You know, we talk a lot about authenticity these days, but we don't always see it. And I think your your willingness to share has really opened my eyes, taught me a lot, and made me really see how valuable it is for others that have learned from you, and others who now have the courage to share because they've seen you do it. And it's a real mark of being, you know, I guess I would always say about you, Alex, is that you're comfortable in your own skin. and
Yes.
um and when people are comfortable in their own skin, they can teach others a lot, you know, about being comfortable in their own skin. And so um I just think it's great that what you're doing. I just so appreciate it. But I'm just particularly really proud of you.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely. Being so comfortable in your own skin is something that took me a long time to learn. So I'm glad that I'm able to inspire others now that I have.
Yes, absolutely.
So, final question here.
Sometimes that can, sure.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead. What were you saying?
I was just going to say sometimes it takes a lifetime for people to get comfortable in their own skin.
Yeah. Unfortunately, a lot of people never make it there.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So how do you plan to continue serving now that your career is over?
Well, I think because of students like you, when I retired, I um, I wanted to stay involved with the school in some way. So I actually volunteered 2 days a week in the academic resource room
Mm,
for Academics Student Center, ASC, um, to be of support to students who have challenges. It could be something like ADHD. It could be um, someone who is, struggling with, just sensitivity, um, struggling with loud noises, things like that. Or they may be, you know, uh, autistic. They may be have some cognitive challenges,
sure.
and so just being able to be down there in that resource room, working with those students, uh, has just been a real joy for me because I think I learned from you a lot, and it made me want to be around students who had those challenges because I find them very refreshing and very honest and very authentic. And so I just go in 2 days a week and to be available. And sometimes I'll read a test to a student. Sometimes I will quiz them on some work. Sometimes I might help them start getting ideas for an essay. Um, Sometimes I'll just sit and chat with them if they just are taking a break. And so it's really been a real blessing to stay involved in that kind of way.
Yes, it absolutely has, and I will say my time at the ASC, I mean, it was LRC during my time, but
Yes, yes, the name has changed to the ASC.
yeah, yeah. But my time there certainly helped me get off on the right foot and helped me prosper and thrive because I I do need some extra help with academics, and that's okay because that's the
Hmm.
way God made me, and
Absolutely.
I'm gonna go definitely gonna take
Hmm.
advantage of the resources given because of that, and
Absolutely.
I'm so glad that you're able to continue to be an inspiration to these children, like you were to me. So you're definitely doing great wonders with that during in that center.
Well, thank you. And I hope you come back and visit us, Alex.
I'll certainly
And I'm
try my.
so proud of you with your student teaching.
Thank you,
You're gonna be a great teacher.
thank you. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna try my best, and a lot of times my best is very well. So
That's great. You're going to be a blessing to your students.
amen to that. Yes. All right. Well, thank you, Miss Brown, so much for coming on. And
You're
yes,
very welcome, Alex, and we will definitely stay in touch.
yes, we will absolutely. And if all goes well, then in 2 months I'll see you when I'm walking across the stage. Definitely.
That sounds great. That
All right.
sounds great.
Well, have a
Thank you
one.
for inviting me, Alex.
Yes, have a
Okay.
wonderful
Thank you
day.
so much.
All right.
Bye bye. Yes.